Alright, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Today in this video we are going to cover a new chapter which is chapter 10 on human resource management. These are the elements that we are going to discuss throughout the chapter. We are going to discuss on the definition, and then we are going to look at the functions of HRM as well as HRM components. Why this chapter is important? Because organization is made up of people, and these people, they come from different backgrounds, they have different educational qualifications, and then they have different positions, and organization is dependent upon the performance of their employees. If the organization is not doing well, part of the issues, yes, it might come from the leader, but at the same time, the reason could be in terms of the employees who are working for that particular organization. So, of course, the human capital is essential to any type of organization to ensure the long-term performance of the organization. And then it is a social contract in terms of the expectation between the employer and employee relationship. It needs to be managed. As an employee, we have our own demands, and as an employer, they also have their own expectations. So we need to have this human resource management in order for us, for the organization, to find a mutual understanding between the employer as well as the employee. Organizations perform better when they treat their employees better, of course, and human resources are key to organizational success or failure. This part, I reckon, later on, each and every one of you could read this on your own. But basically, here it is being highlighted that human resource management is about acquiring, maintaining, and develop their human resources. Those are the basic functions. And when we talk about a person being function or perform any of the HR activities, we can classify his or her activities under this category. Is either under the acquiring part, maintaining part, or developing part. For example, you might be involved in terms of recruiting a new staff. That is the part of acquiring. And in another example, you might be involved in terms of providing training to your new staff. That is on the developing part. And then in terms of the maintaining, you might be involved in terms of handling the salaries, the payrolls of the employees, and that involved in terms of the maintaining part. And a firm's human resource are crucial. A firm human resource is crucial to its performance. Therefore, a firm's performance is dependent on how its human resources are managed. Again, competent employees are the most valuable assets in any form of organization, and that's why this subject is becoming much more important. And for each and every one of you, since you guys are all HR students, so these are the basic understanding and concepts that you need to develop and understand. You need to build up your strong understanding in this particular chapter, because throughout your study life for the next 2 or 3 years, you will be exposed with every single topic that we are going to discuss in this particular chapter. You are going to have like one single topic on recruitment, one single topic on subject on selection, one single topic on or subject on compensation, because you guys are all HR students. So let us look at the definitions of human resource management. HRM begins with the acquisition, consists of all activities involved in acquiring, maintaining, and developing an organization's human resources. So yes, the first thing that we need to do, of course, we need to get the right people. We need to acquire them. Sometimes we go fishing and we go into different companies, to our competitors, in order to get the right person. That is part of acquisition. And then after that, you need to take steps in order to keep these valuable resources. in terms of handsome compensation packages, in terms of monetary and non-monetary compensation packages, in terms of our performance appraisal, in order to compensate them well or to identify areas for improvement in the future. And you also need to develop them. And of course, in each and every one of employees' perceptions, they have the intention of being promoted in the future. And after certain times, we need to be confirmed. After certain times, we need to be promoted to higher position. So as an organization, we are responsible in providing the career path of our employees. So when we talk about HRM activities, we go for the acquisition first, the 5 activities leading to hiring new personnel. So the first one, we talk about human resource planning, which involve in terms of the identifying the demand and supply, how many new numbers of employees that we need when we decide to open up a new branch. And then we need to decide in terms of where are we going to locate these potential employees, whether it is from different companies, whether they should come from the universities, whether they should come from colleges or any training centers. And then you need to do the job analysis to identify what is the job description, what is the job specification. Because of why? Because this is the element that you are going to use in your advertisement. And kita selalu boleh nampak in terms of job offer ataupun job advertisement dekat internet, dalam surat khabar before this. That is part of the job analysis. And then we talk about recruitment. How are we going to recruit to identify potential, to encourage potential employees to apply for that particular job. And recruitment can be in the form of internal or external. Internal, kalau if we have any opening in our organization, sometimes we can recruit from our internal staff. We promote the position among our internal staff who are qualified. For example, they might offer the position to you first since you already have had your degree in HR, and so instead of going outside, so they offer from their internal staff. And then there are also advantages and disadvantages of using internal and external recruitment. And then we talk about selection. Selection is about what criteria that we use in order to select our potential candidate. Recruitment and selection are 2 different stages. Recruit is on how to get as many numbers of potential respondents to apply, and selection is about what criteria that we use in order to select. For example, if you are applying for a PTD position, there are several tests that you need to go through, and if you don't get through the earlier test, they will not allow you to come for the upcoming test or for the second phase, third phase selection process. And then once you have select your potential candidate, for example, dalam recruitment kita dapat recruit 10 employees, 10 potential candidates, 10. Mana? 10. And then after the selection process, kita dah buat interview, dah tengok CV, kita dah buat test apa semua, and then daripada 10 ni kita tinggal 3 saja potential employees. Okay, turun tangan. So from these 3 potential employees to be selected, and then you are going to interview them. And then finally, we are going to offer to 1 potential candidate. So when this 1 potential candidate register, arrive at your company, the first stage yang diorang akan go through is the orientation dia part. Kan, minggu orientasi lah, kan, to get to know the people and everything else. And then the second part, we talk about maintaining. How can you maintain? And maintain is about employee relations. Okay, yang ni boleh lebih cepat kan. Employee relations, how to manage the employer-employee relationships. And then kita, the element of maintaining also is part of compensation. And then another element is the benefits lah, kan, non-monetary benefits that you offer to your employees. And development concerned with improving employee skill and expanding capabilities, which involve training and performance appraisal. All right, we go into the first element. We talk about the components. So these are all the elements, summary of functions of human resource manager ataupun human resource management, and factors forecasting human resources demand and supply actually, factors affecting HR demand, and then we need to know in terms of the number of employees needed, and then we talk about attracting a quality workforce, which involve human resource planning, recruitment and selection, and then maintaining quality workforce, and then developing a quality workforce. So this is pretty much what we have already highlighted earlier on. So now we are going to go into each of these components. Some of these components I have already talked about this. So we just focus on the things that we need to look at. So human resource planning is about development of strategies to meet future human resource needs. The starting point is organization's overall strategic plan. It involves forecasting human resource demand and supply and matching between human resource demand and supply. For example, there are 2 retired employees in our organization in September. We know that 2 of our employees are going to retire in September. So you need to, then you have a demand that your organization has 2 demands of that particular position. So the next part is for you to identify in terms of the supply of these positions. Where should you go fishing? Whether it should come from newly graduated employees or students, or you should go for experienced employees that you can obtain from your competitors. So this is the part of demand and supply, and you need to match between demand and supply. And then human resource planning involved in terms of, yes, these are the processes being discussed in your textbook, which talk about in terms of the demand and supply, and then in terms of, yes, we go into the review, and human resource planning, review organization mission and objective, review the HR objective, and then assess the current human resource needs. Kan? So kita ada 2 orang yang nak pencen, retire. So that is kita punya existing needs. And then kita tengok pula forecast human resource, how many people are available now and with what qualification. That is the current one, I'm sorry. And then kita forecast in terms of human resource needs. From here, we identify that in September, we need to fulfill that 2 positions. And then develop implementation human resource plans to match people and jobs openings lah. From where are we going to recruit and everything, the selection process that we are going to implement in our organization. Alright, so that is the first step, and then we are going to continue with our next video with the remaining of the components of HR.